Hi y'all. So back with one of my random videos. I don't know, I be thinking of the most random stuff. Like when I'm sitting idle, when they say an idle mind, well, they say an idle mind is a devil's playground. But for me, like when I have an idle mind, like when I'm just sitting doing nothing, I just like start thinking of the most random stuff. And I'm like, there are so many instances I like will just think of something random and I'm like, I should record this because I know I didn't just get this random thought just for me to, process on my own or for me to think over on my own. I'm sure that there is someone out here that can relate to what it is that I'm thinking about. So I'm just like sitting in my living room, drinking a cup of coffee. I just got back from Costa Rica, y'all, and I'm just like enjoying some time, some downtime. You know how it is after vacation. You just have to kind of decompress and like, get back into the swing of things, get back into your routine. So I'm like, I have the day off. I'm just drinking me some coffee, watching YouTube. I was about to play my game, but my computer got an update. I'm just taking some time for me. And I'm like watching family vlogs. And I don't know why, I just got this random thought because I'm watching this Christian family. Check them out. They're called, their channel is called Totally Tates. Or is it? Yeah, Totally Tates. It's on my TV. And I love their channel. It's very like wholesome and like family and all of that good stuff. But anyway. So I'm sitting here on my couch and I don't know where this thought came from. And it was basically where I think, oh, I know what it is. So I'm watching their channel. And in every one of their vlogs, I'll notice that they'll say, someone's brought them food. And so just stick with me because this is so random. So I'll notice, and I look like such a nerd. I gotta take my hair out, y'all. Just ignore it. I'm looking like I just came off vacay and I got my hair wet, sweated out, all of that. So it was hot over there in Costa Rica, child. And me and my man, we were outside, child. So just ignore the mess that is me right now. Okay, I'm gonna get it together. But anyway, I noticed in every one of their, like nearly every vlog, they'll say someone brought them food. And I'm just like, it made me think, because I'm like in my head, I started thinking like, oh, they need to be careful with just accepting food from anybody. And I'm sure that they know these people, whatever, like they go to church with them and everything like that. And, but I'm like, still, I hope they're careful with just taking food from anybody. And in this particular video here, she said that they got them Chick-fil-A or whatever. And I was like, oh, that's good. Like they got them. Not that fast food is always the best, but I just am very picky about eating at people's houses and like just taking food that people made in their home because you just don't know. Like when I used to work on site and they would have potlucks and they would do different, workplace gatherings and they would have people like just potlucks and stuff. I would never like partake in that because I just felt weary about taking food from other people's houses. And so it made me start thinking random instances that I've had. So just follow with me, right? So basically it made me start thinking, I'm like, they're like very friendly family. I couldn't help but to start thinking of like, oh, like they need to be careful of just taking things from anybody. And like I said, these are their church, family, people from their church family that bring them food and stuff. They have disabled children and they want to help to lift that, load. I'm sure that the mom feels sometimes like with taking care of this family as a young mother and stuff like that. And I'm like, that's so sweet. But it made me think about some past experiences. So whenever someone is like pushing something on me, I don't know, it just makes me feel weary. And that's not their situation, but it made me think of some of my own experiences in life, right? Of just why I'm so cautious with people in general. Like why I'm not so, what's the word I'm looking for? Like I'm not just someone that if someone's like, hey, like if someone just brought a plate of food to me, I'm not gonna just like eat it if I don't know you like that. Because I just feel, and this is just me, I assume like if I don't know you like that and I haven't gotten the time to really get to know you and you're like pushy about certain things, it makes me very weary. Like it's made me like have like this wall up with people where like, say if it were me and I had just given birth and I'm at the church and I'm, fellowshipping with other people and they like were like trying to be nice and like, hey, let me bring you a plate of lasagna or a casserole or whatever. Like my first thing would be like, oh, that is so sweet, but I probably wouldn't eat it if I don't know them like that. Because just accepting things from people, I just feel like with the world that we're in today, you have to be extremely careful. And people do things like, I don't want to assume ill intent from others, but it's very easy for me to assume ill intent because I've experienced some weird stuff, and it's made me very cautious. So I was laying here on my couch, like I said, and I started thinking of like some stuff, and it made me think about when I was living in Georgia. And I had met this girl. I don't know I don't know how we met. And long story short, like me and her, we started becoming like really close. Like I really enjoyed like the camaraderie. Like we were really like talking every day. She's like, you're my sister in Christ. And like I felt that type of connection with her. And you know, at this time, I'm like, I don't have a church family or whatever. Like I don't know anyone really there because I hadn't been going to church and stuff. She invited me to her church, and I had told her, you know, like I am a Christian, a traditional Christian, and I had told her that like I don't follow any particular denomination, like just putting it out there, whatever. And hold on, I don't really see my stuff. See, I'm just so random. But anyway, so she was like such a sweet person, and she had invited me to her church. So I go to her church, and I feel so bad about this because I have forgotten about this until this, like watching them, it just triggered this memory. And so I go to her church, and their beliefs didn't align with my beliefs. And I was frustrated because I'm like, you knew that, you knew like just through our conversation, like I'm a traditional Christian, and her church was not that, if that makes sense. I don't even know what their denomination was. Their beliefs just did not align with my beliefs. And so like I had went to like her Bible study like that one time, and then I think I had went another time because I was like, let me give this a try. Because she was like, I know that, you know, this is a little bit different than what you're used to, but trust me. And I'm like trying to trust this girl. And I've been burnt out so much from just trusting people, to the point where it's like she knew my beliefs didn't align, but she was just like so pushy. And I went with it because at the time I was just not the woman that I am today. This was like a while ago. So like I was still like in my young 20s. I think I was like in my early like 2021 era. Not 2021 the year, but I was like 20, 21 years old, like around that area. So I didn't really know how to speak up for myself. And she was just like being really pushy. So I still went to the church even though it didn't align with me. And long story short, I remember I was like, you know, this is just not going to be a good fit for me. Like this is not going to benefit me in my faith. And I made that decision. And I remember, because it came across like cult-like. It was like very cult, like it just was. And I'm like, I'm just not feeling this. So I remember I was trying to like leave. I was like, you know, I'm gonna head out, whatever. And she's like, no, you need to take this plate of food. And I'm like, no, I'm good. Like, I'm not hungry. At the time, I would do a lot more fasting than I do now. I need to start back fasting now. And I was like, no, I'm good, or whatever. And she's like, no, you need to take this plate. Like, you don't, why? Because I do a lot of cooking. She's like, why would you want to cook or grab food? Like, pay money. We have food here at church, or whatever. And I was like, no, I'm good. Because they were serving food that I didn't even eat. Like, it wasn't something that, I liked or whatever. I don't know what it was, but I was like, no, I'm good. But she like was so pushy. And so I took the plate, right? And then she's like, are you gonna eat some? Like, she was just like watching me like a hog. What the hell? Like, what is with you just caring so much about me eating this food? And so I feel like this video all over the place. But anyway, so I took the plate anyway. And when I got home, I trashed shit. And because I'm like, why are you being like, that's when I first started really being cautious of accepting things, accepting what like food or items or whatever from people, because I noticed, I'm sorry, like if it's something that, and I'm not saying that she had ill intent, and I feel bad because I still think back to that and I had forgotten about this completely. where she had reached out to me saying that, you know, she had tried to meet friends and stuff like that, and she'd been ghosted by, you know, girlfriends so many times and stuff, and I felt horrible. I never did respond to her text, I don't think. That was messed up. I ain't gonna lie to you. But when people push stuff on me, like, it just turns me completely off from them. I remember even, like, I was talking to this guy this one time, right? And I had told him my standard was, if I'm gonna go out with you, like, if I'm gonna date you, I need to be properly, you know, courted or whatever. Like, go on dates, take me to dinner, take me to get coffee, whatever it is. Because I don't mind a coffee date. That's a whole nother video. I know that's a whole, like, I don't know why this computer taking so long to load, but I know there's a whole debacle about, like, a back and forth, a debate about, oh, if you take a coffee date, you whatever. But that's a whole nother video. But I remember that situation, and him and I, like, we would talk on the phone for hours, stuff. Ladies, don't give men hours of your time. Actually, the story time is on this channel still. I think it was called He's a Kevin Samuel Lover or something like that. Like, check it out on my page. It was, I made this video like 2-3 years ago, but it was kind of a funny story time. And he was like pushing for me to go to his place, and I'm like, no, I'm not that type of girl. Like, I've never met you in person before. Like, it was online dating. I'm not going to your place. I've never met you. And he was like so pushy about it. And when people are just like pushy like that, and to the point where they start getting agitated that you don't accept something from them, an item, maybe they invite you on a trip, you say no, and like they're just extremely pushy, make sure you look at that with a side eye. Not that you shouldn't ever accept anything from people, but be very selective and not letting just anybody, even though they may come across as nice, or, oh, they're just being nice. Don't always assume that, because in these days and times, I don't know why I'm getting congested. In these days and times, you have to be very selective of the energy you surround yourself with, taking stuff from people. And just having that discernment, especially if someone is pushing something on you. You have to know how to have that boundary and really be assertive with your boundaries. Because, like I said, I used to be that person where even if I didn't want to do something, even if I didn't want to take something, I felt forced to, and it never brought me any peace. Like, it would make me feel off, if that makes any sense, because I'm doing something that's going against what I'm comfortable with. So yeah, this video really probably was pointless. I don't know, child. I don't know if I ever got to the point I was trying to make, but my whole point was, if I just want to bring this home, is be careful who you let around in your circle. Be careful just accepting things from anybody. Be careful with just going with things, even if you don't really, if in your heart you don't feel right about something, like, oh, I don't really feel comfortable going on this trip, but I'm gonna go anyway because, you know, I feel like forced to, or this is my friend, like I'm gonna upset them if I don't do this. This is my boyfriend or my girlfriend. If I don't do this, then they're gonna not like me anymore, whatever it is. Be true to yourself, even if it's something as small as accepting food from somebody, accepting gifts from somebody. I went through myself a complete cleanse. I think it was early this year. I just felt weighed down, and I had stuff from prior relationships even. And I remember my boyfriend I never even brought this up, like, because I would be saying stuff to him like, if this is from an ex or whatever, you need to get rid of this. Like, I don't feel like you need to get rid of this, whatever. And then I thought about my own self, and I did an inventory on myself, and I'm like, dang, I have stuff from like years ago that ex-boyfriends have given me, whether it was shoes, whether it was like shoes, clothes, whatever. Stuff from like my ex-best friend, like she had given me a lot of stuff, a lot of gifts, and I got rid of all that shit because, and after I did, I felt lighter, because just harboring stuff from a place of negativity where maybe you and this person fell out or whatever, and you still have stuff from them, you may not think it is going to affect you, but just having things from people that may not have meant you well, I know it sounds probably crazy for me to say that, but it's the truth. Like, I would just get rid of this shit, because you may not even realize if you and this person are not, you know, in good standing anymore, or whatever the situation is, and you just, maybe it didn't end very badly, whether it was a friendship or a relationship or whatever, or between family members or whatever. But sometimes keeping certain things, if it was given with ill intent, or if things have shifted, like the paradigm has shifted with the relationship or whatever, keeping those items, it can bring negativity into your life. And that's what I'm just getting to. Like, be careful, be very selective of what you accept. Stick to your boundaries, because not doing so can really cost you. And we've seen that with the Robinson case in Charlotte, North Carolina, where she went on that trip with her, she thought were her friends. And maybe she didn't feel comfortable, but she did it anyway. And then, you know, they took her life. You know, there's so many things that there have been so many instances of things happening where, like, I just saw this, it was like this crime thing on YouTube. And this young lady, she went on this one date with this guy, and she had never, like, went back to a guy's place and before, like, where she's just on the initial date. She had never done that before, according to her family and friends. And the one time she did, they had, like, shown video and stuff, and it felt like it looked like she was uncomfortable, but she went with it anyway, and she went back to his place anyway, and he took her life. So even though it may seem very minuscule, some of the things that we do, taking certain things from people, accepting certain gifts from people, even if you don't feel comfortable, going on trips, even though you felt a little bit uncomfortable in your spirit, you did it anyway. Be very careful with that, because you just don't know in these days and times, okay, what people's true intentions are. And sometimes you may find out later and you're okay. Sometimes you may not get the chance to, and it may not end very well. So I say all of that to say, I don't know why watching their video, like, it just triggered a memory in me of, like, a time where I would just accept things from people, because I felt like no one forced me, literally forced me to, but I felt so much pressure to, and then it made me feel uncomfortable. Like, that was a boundary that was crossed for me, and it doesn't have to be that way. It's okay to say no. It's okay to not accept things from people. It's okay to turn people down if you don't feel right about it, if you feel comfortable, even if it's just food. If you don't want to eat other people's food and your work is doing a potluck. I remember when I was working at a call center in Georgia, and they would have potlucks, and I never felt comfortable with that. And I would, you know, my manager would be like, why aren't you eating any of the food? You're not participating. Like, that's not being a team player. And I'm like, I don't eat people's food from other people's houses. So she was so pushy about it. And I'd be like, no, I'm not hungry. And I remember this one time, I'm wrapping it up, y'all, I promise. They had a potluck, and I'm like, I was hungry. And I went to Chick-fil-A, and I sat in my car, and she had seen me in my car eating my Chick-fil-A. And she was like, oh, for someone who's not hungry, you sure didn't mind going to Chick-fil-A. Like, trying to make me feel bad that I didn't want to eat any of the food at the potluck. And I'm like, that's my prerogative, though. If that's my boundary, that's my boundary. Why are you tripping? Anyway, people have some audacity out here. That's all I'm saying. And all I'm saying is, it's okay to think that it's okay to want to believe that people mean well and that intent is good, but not everyone's intent is good. And being more cautious of who you let around you and your circle, things you take from people, food you accept from others, being more cautious on going on trips with people you can trust too easily and too quickly before really getting to know other people, especially if you are going to church. Like, it's easy to be like, oh, this is someone that goes to church, of course they mean me no harm. It's so easy to do that because you are a good person and because you want to believe in the good in others because you're a good person. And all I'm saying is, not everybody means you well. Unfortunately, that is the truth. I'm not trying to be negative. Stick to your boundaries, and you'll be all right. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. Make sure you go ahead, like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell, y'all. Follow me on Instagram at DiamondVicky. Put it on the screen, and I'll have another talk with y'all later. Bye, y'all.